Hey, it's Whistle, and welcome to a game called Settlement Survival. Settlement Survival is relatively new. I believe it's only been out a couple of weeks. But I have been playing a little bit of it, and it is a phenomenal game. So, you take place in, 1800s-ish, it looks like. And you just build up your colony and have to survive. So we're going to go ahead and get started on a new city here. So you can see there are a few different modes. So there's a standard mode, sandbox mode, and then there's also a Easter Island mode, which I might wind up looking into in the future. But basically, the main thing about this is trees don't grow quite as quick. You can pause if you want and read that description, but you're not allowed to build anything that will grow trees specifically. I think fruit trees are allowed. And just general tree growth is not going to be the same, but you do start with some technologies, which we'll get into the whole technologies thing in a few minutes, I think. And then there are a couple other different scenarios that are going to be coming soon. I believe this game is still in beta. I believe it just got fully launched in beta though. So we're going to go ahead and go into standard mode. And I'm going to just leave this the way it is for right now. And I'm going to click the map seed 3 times after naming this city. We're going to call it the Whistle Factory because I can't spell and talk at the same time. You can get into some kind of industrial buildings. I don't really expect you to be able to make whistles, but we're going to go with it. But I'm going to click this 3 times, and whatever that seed number is what we're going to rock with. And 1, 2, 3. So the cool thing about this is, since the seed number associated with this, similar to something like, Minecraft, if you have friends that want to play this, you guys can both play on the same seed, so that way you guys can compare each other's cities at whatever point. So we have this red border here, which I don't know if you can expand that. I don't believe so. At least I haven't seen anything indicating that you can. So we're going to have this little flag here, which will decide where we start our civilization. Each map is going to have a river that runs through it, as well as a lake. And you're going to see these little green icons above everything. So this one is pretty self-explanatory. That means there are some fish here. This, I believe, means that there is some herbs, and one of these is herbs, one of them is natural resources. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one is which. And then here we do also have, so on the left-hand side right here, we have what look like some bison, and then we have turkeys over here. So there are a few different kinds of animals just kind of scattered around the map that you can set up hunters' outposts for, and they'll just go out and hunt. So this game is really awesome. There's just a bunch of different food options. You can do farms, you can grow animals, you can just hunt and gather. And as I'm zooming around here, you will notice a bunch of things on the ground. So this right here kind of looks like some carrots. There's some mushrooms here. So underneath the trees, there's going to be different resources that will grow. So we'll get into all that once we decide on a starting spot, which, looking at it, I'm thinking that this might not be a pretty too bad of a spot. So we're going to go ahead and, well, may as well just get her down here. So we're going to start right there. Perfect. So we start with a total of 20 adults and 10 children. And this is all we start out with. We start out with a marketplace, which is going to collect and transport resources, basically. A small storage yard, which right now just has some stone, and a builder's cabin. So I'm going to actually just, for right now, increase our builder's cabin up to 5, just because I do want to get stuff built a little bit quicker. And we're just going to go ahead and start. Where do I want to start? So let's just clear out that area here. So the trees in this game, they do grow back over time. So if you chop out half of your city and leave the other half, it's just going to start to grow over, but we will see all that as we go. Up top, we do have different months. So another really unique feature about this game, or not so unique, but there are 12 months in the year, as is pretty typical. But each of those months is going to be a little bit different. So month 3, you have to make sure you get planting if you're going to get any crops. And then in September, or month 9 as the game calls it, that's when your harvest is. So they take 6 months to grow. In the winter, it does get cold. So you can see right here, it's 44 degrees, which is chilly. So if I don't give them housing and heating long term, they will freeze to death. So yeah, a lot of really interesting things that you just have to keep on top of in this game. And it's so far, it's been a whole bunch of fun. So we're going to just collect those as well. And we're going to start putting down some houses. So I'm not going to go super crazy. Actually, let me gather up these plants as well. I'm not going to go super crazy with housing right now. Each house can hold 4 citizens. But you will notice here, this is going to be one of the few city building games, at least that I know of, that you can build houses down and not need any kind of roads attached with them. They can just get placed down just like that and be good to go. The other awesome thing about this game is all of these buildings here are just called house. There's no other kind of house at the moment, but you can kind of see in the outlines. So these two look like they're going to be the same. This one is very different. It has a little like third story up here, and then these two just kind of look like, actually they're, oh, these are even a little bit different too. So this one's a bit narrow, but it looks like there's like a little bench or something on the side, and this is a little bit wider. So the houses especially are all going to look slightly different from one another, which is really great. Just kind of helps keep things looking a little bit different, as opposed to some games where it's just all the houses look exactly the same. So if you have a lot of houses in the same spot, visually it's not super appealing. So now that we got our houses underway, we are going to go to our, forgive me, I'm still learning which tabs things go in. We're going to go to our resources tab here. Is that what that is called? Yes, resources. And there are hotkeys, so I can press numbers 1 through 0 and open up a different tab. But we're going to go to our gathering station here. So our gathering station is going to be placed down, and it will just start collecting all of the stuff underneath. So I'm just doing a quick scan in the area, just seeing where the good spots are going to be to put it. And these will grow back provided that there are trees. If I chop down all the trees, like in this clearing that I made, nothing is going to grow back in terms of the little plants. So let's see. I think there was a lot. Yeah, there was a good amount up here. So I'm just going to place it down right here for right now. They don't need roads or anything to get around. Roads do make them walk faster, but they can go ahead and build. If I wanted to build something up here, they'll be able to do it. It will just take them a while to get up there, and they will probably get hungry and thirsty by the time they get there. All right, and the next thing I'm going to build is going to be a well. So a well is going to just provide some fresh water for them. And I'll put that right, let's see. Let's do it right here. So it will provide some water for them, as well as helping them fight fires should one pop up. And that kind of gets us into our resource tab over here. So a lot is going on here. So food, we have 1,800 food, and this is the food. And look at all of that different kind of food. And there's even more, like this is all the stuff that you have to process. And then it gets a little bit further, and that's, you know, stuff like steak and canned meat, where you're going to need to get meat process going and get a cannery and all of that. So super excited. I'm looking forward to getting towards the end of this game for sure. Then we have our water, which, you know, you can see water, coffee, cocoa, black tea. We have medicine. So medicine is going to help keep them happy and healthy. Then we have our materials here. Again, a whole bunch of materials. And the materials one is just kind of a general stuff. I guess is the easiest way to describe it. So there's some building stuff in here. There is, stuff for textiles. Then we have our construction here. We have our ore. There are a few different kinds of fuel as well. So there's domestic fuel, which is basically, as far as I would be able to describe it, it's like kindling, basically. So you get that through sawmills and making some. There is coal, which are these black rocks here. And then there's furnace burden, which you have to make later on in the game. Clothing is important as well. So clothing, and I just realized it's month 3, so I'm going to make sure I get a farm built in a second. But clothing helps keep everybody warm, and it does also increase your happiness. And happiness is a pretty important factor as well, which I'll get to in a moment. And then we have our tools and our beverages, which beverages look like it is pretty much all alcohol, again, happiness based. And yeah, so that is about that. Up here at the happiness, you can see right now our happiness is high, so we're getting work efficiency plus 10, but if they get very low, desire to procreate becomes low, and that is important because that means our city's going to wind up losing population. Or if it's just a little bit low, it can mean decreased work, which obviously we don't want either, because once you start getting into that cycle, it's pretty hard to break out. But I'm sure we'll wind up there probably shortly. There is also a health tab, which you can build hospitals and do research on different kinds of things, which will just keep the health up. And same kind of thing, if it's very low, you're going to notice a 20% walking speed decrease, as opposed to, a strength consumption reduction, I cannot speak, of 25% if it's the highest. So these two up here are super, super important to keep an eye on, but very, very, very difficult to get up to this level and maintain that throughout the game. So then we go into our stress. So again, just kind of shows some stuff here. So we do still have some homeless, so I apparently did bad math. So we're going to just get going on a couple more houses. All right, and you will notice the blue sphere, or blue circle rather, around here. So I can only place houses in here. So I can place a house here, but not here. And that just means it's too far away from the market. You can build other markets, so you're not just limited to houses in this one little tiny circle for your entire city. But it is something to keep track of as you're starting out. It's typically best, obviously you want to keep everything as close as possible, but you really, especially starting out, you don't want to use too much of this for something that is not housing, because you will need a lot of housing as the game goes on. All right, and just for sake of being able to put a road down at a later date, I'm going to go ahead and put one right there. And the road, there are a couple different kinds. So this is just a dirt road, so I'm actually going to put that down here. It doesn't cost anything to build. A builder just has to come and kind of stomp on it and turns into it. But then there is also a stone road and a stone ground road. So it's basically pavement. But this is really, really nice because it gives you extra walking speed. So that's good to kind of connect everything up. And I did not even build a field. So we're going to do that. Okay. So we're just going to start with a standard field. We don't need to do anything too crazy at the moment. And I am, again, just going to get them a little out of the way. We're going to start with 2 of them, and they will automatically clear these trees, which is great. And then I think the next thing I'm going to build is going to be a logging camp. So that's just going to help kind of give us wood throughout the game, you know, more or less passively, which is good because having to cut down the trees all the time is going to be a bit annoying. So, yeah. So this game is fantastic. It is on Steam again. I believe it's in a beta at the moment. So if you want to check it out, definitely would recommend doing that. And so here's the clinic here that I was kind of talking about earlier as far as being able to heal things. It's not quite a hospital, sure, but it is a start. And I will get more into this as we go, but there's an entire tab for research. And I'm going to go quickly, but you can just see how many different things there are. So we do start with 5 points. So I'm actually going to get this, and then I'm going to go straight to the grove. The grove will let us plant fruit trees as soon as we get some. And there is also, let's see. So I do want to get a research institute as well, because that will help us earn research points faster. So it's just kind of an investment in the game, as well as a school expansion, because that will let us get 5 more students and also double our school development point. And the next thing I'm going to get is going to be, let's see, what are you? You know what? I'm going to save that for right now, I think, until we can figure out something that we're going to use that on. So I don't want to just start spending points on stuff I don't need to. So these are the produces that you start out with. You can see all of them say field crops that yield whatever their fruit is, or vegetable rather, fast maturing but low yield. There are a bunch of other things that will start popping in here as we get the seeds. So we're just going to start with some winter squash and some cabbage. No real reason behind either of those, but I just don't like tomatoes myself, so I don't want to, you know, make all these guys eat tomatoes. That doesn't seem right. All right, and we are waiting on stone, so I'm gonna collect stone. We're gonna collect that and that right there. Perfect. So that'll get us going on the stone, and we'll be able to get those houses for our homeless members. And you can see down on the bottom, we have these little orange circles next to these tabs. So it's just showing the stuff that we unlocked. So we got an apiary, which will just help us collect beehives, and that beeswax can be turned into soap. Again, this game is very complicated, but it's fantastic. And then the other thing that we unlocked is a research institute. So I'm going to put that, just because I like how it looks, I'm going to go ahead and put that right here. So I know I just was talking about not putting stuff really in the way of your city, but I really, really like how that looks. It's a very pretty building, so I want it kind of in the middle. So a boarding house is, ooh, we got new seeds. Ooh, we got some flax seeds. So flax is going to be really nice because once we unlock a few things, we can start turning that into clothing or rope, both of which are going to be useful to us as we progress. So as I place down a couple more houses, I was about to talk about the boarding house that you see down here. So there are some travelers that will come every now and again. And if you have a city hall built, which reminds me I should probably do that. And we'll just get that. Let's see. Yeah, right here. Nice and out of the way. But if you get the town hall built, then it will let us keep some of those, or all of them, as they show up. So if we don't have a town hall, they're just going to show up and be like, wow, this place is pretty cool, and then just leave. But if they do have a town hall, we can go ahead and keep them. And there is also a mayor. I forget if they call it a mayor or not, but they will provide some passive buffs to your city as well. So you get to choose which ones you want. Cool. So do we have... We do not. So I'm going to actually build a big well here. That's just going to produce a lot more water because I'm noticing this is not really holding as steady as I want it to. And I'm going to use one of my research points here and go into mining. And we're just going to get going on... We don't need stone at the moment, so we're going to just get one of these. So this is going to help us get, as you saw, some coal, some iron. And these actually get placed right into a mountain. So in this game, the 3 tiles at the back of it, see how those are red? If I push them back, 1, 2, 3, they're going to go into the mountain, and then that's going to be able to get built there. And it's same kind of concept for anything that needs to go in the water. So a water mill. There's another building called the Reservoir. that has like a water wheel, so that's all going to go on there. And it can be a little bit difficult to try to find some spots to put them, just because all it takes is one little tile to mess things up, but it's definitely a nifty little feature. And it looks like this mine is built directly into this mountain, so it's really, really awesome. And once that gets going, which I should have enough resources for, if not, we can just get some more stone and wood taken care of. Oh, you need iron ore for that. But once it gets going, I'm going to set it to iron, just because it looks like iron is the main resource that we need at the moment. And that's just going to start working. So we're going to keep playing on that. And I'm actually going to get a hunter's cabin down. Where is the radius on this? So we'll get a hunter's cabin over here, out of the way. You know, where you would expect a hunter's cabin to be, just away from the city limits, but not too far away. And again, those guys are just going to travel around the map and pick up some food for us. And the map is currently divided into two sections, obviously, with this river, but we can build bridges, which I have no need to do right now. But you can build a bridge and just connect it all up. So a lot of really interesting things in this game. And I look forward to being able to play with you guys. Okay, so we do have the timber and we have the stone. So it looks like things are just going a little slow at the moment. And we do have an injury. It looks like our first one. So Shelly here fractured her foot. So there are injuries. Some of them are a bit less dramatic, if you will, than others. You know, sometimes they can break their leg and they just can't work. Other times it's just a fractured foot and they're just not feeling great. They can just kind of hobble around. So once this gets built, which I'm going to just prioritize real quick, so all of our resources go into that because we need iron pretty bad. But yeah, once that's built, we're going to get mining. And the other thing with this game is there is a building called a blacksmith. So blacksmith, as you probably would expect, it's going to help make some tools. So that's going to be useful for everything because everybody will need tools. So it's going to start to make some iron tools once we get enough iron. But I believe I can get stone tools going in it off the start. And it'll just speed up efficiency for everybody. And efficiency is always a good thing to have. Okay. So we're gonna, while we're waiting, because I do have 16, these are basically idle workers, so they're just gonna do whatever I need them to. So you should see a swarm of people going to chop down these trees. Yeah, there we go. Ideally, obviously, we do want to get them all in jobs. So I think what I might do is just increase that real quick. So we get 3 people working just because I want to make sure we're harvesting. And I'm going to just do a +1 on that. So we have 3 people gathering as well. I think 2, for the most part, is pretty good because you don't want to have too many people working in the gathering station or the lumberjack, or logging camp rather, because then they're just going to over farm the resources and you have to wait a long time for them to grow. So, and a good point of practice, especially early on, anytime you do a large chopping of the trees, just make sure you collect all these plants because you can get some pretty useful stuff out of them. I believe that's how you get different seeds. So that works on those seeds as well as tree seeds. And speaking of, I'm going to get my orchard placed. So the orchard is, you just drag it out and it will tell you if it's, you know, too big or too small. It can go 15 by 15, which is going to be a lot, but I think I'm going to wind up just biting the bullet and doing that because it does not cost any water or anything to get it. So I may as well just start with the nice big farm and we don't have to worry about expanding it at any point. We'll just build another large one. And again, this is out of the city limits, but pretty close to the rest of everything. So we're gonna just connect it all up with some paths. Here we go. Why is it doing that? So in this game with the paths, if you just drag it around, it will automatically just be like, hey, do you want to put a path here? Sometimes it does weird stuff like that. So we'll just do it manually, I guess, but we're just going to get a nice dirt path going around the middle of that. And as far as trees, we have a cherry tree, we could do grapevines, or we could do chestnuts. So for right now, I want to make sure it's something that is purely just used for food. So we're just going to go ahead and just do chestnuts. I have started with like apples in the past, so I think it's a little random with what root you wind up getting for the trees. We got a new development point up there. So let's see if there's anything worth spending it on at the moment. And one of the things I like about this game a lot, so if I look at this mill here, just picking a totally random one, it's going to say this technology made in materials unlocked by tech, construction, laid stone. So then if we go to construction, laid stone, we would have to unlock that in order to get to our mill. So it does point you in the right direction in terms of what you need, so there's not much guessing. Obviously, sometimes there could be 3 or 4 things that you need to build up before you get to the one that you want, but, you know, there's no guessing game, and that's worth something for sure. Okay, time for autumn harvest. We're already done with that. So our food is looking good. We're up to 2,500 from the, I believe, 1,800 that we started with. And that's almost done. And it does look like our storage yard is just about full. So I'm going to go down into, oops, which one? This one right here. And we're just going to place an open warehouse. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do a 10 by 6. So that's going to just take up all this area here, and that's going to be pretty similar to what this is, just kind of like an open air thing. And you can actually see what materials you have. So we can see a lot of wood here, a lot of what looks like cabbage. There's some stone and iron ore, which the iron ore is getting displayed as bars there, it looks like, but that's not a problem. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. And our mine pit is done, so we're going to pause the game super quick. And we're going to tell it to mine iron ore, and we're going to get started on our stone tools just for right now again. Because stone is a bit easier for us to get a hold of because there's a lot of surface stone. Whereas there's not a lot of stone, or I don't know if there's any iron, to be honest, in the on the surface of the map. I think you have to mine it all. So the warehouse is going to start storing stuff as it pops up. The reason I put it over here is because it's going to be right near our mine pit, as well as our farms. So not a lot of walking for anybody, which is good. Cool, and our logging camp is good. So they're going to go around in this radius here and just start chopping down the trees, and they will replant them as they go. So it's nice to have a couple of those scattered around. But sometimes you just need a lot of wood, and you just have to go through and just chop a whole section, and it'll grow back relatively quickly. So that's more of a later game thing, though. It's just needing a whole bunch of wood. So I think, let's see, what do I have for research points? I'm going to go ahead and, what do I need for this? Mining, sand mining. Okay, so we will get going on that. So we're going to activate that, and then we're going to unlock the reed farm. So the reed farm, as I said, is going to, or similar to the flaxseed rather, it's going to let us make clothing, because I do want to keep happiness up, and health is something that it's a little ways away, unfortunately. I can probably put down a clinic for them. Let's see. Maybe we'll put it right next to town hall. It's not a bad idea. See the other side a little bit better? No. Well, that's unfortunate, but it'll have to just be one higher. So we'll get that out of here, and they'll be good. And you can see the there's a little snowflake above a couple of these houses here. That means winter's coming. It's 45 degrees. It is chilly, which is about what it is outside for me right now. And they want some heat, so I'm gonna take a quick look around and just collect some stone or some coal for them. I don't want to totally deplete all of the coal in the general area. because they can handle being a little bit cold if they need to be. You know, not saying that I'm going to go out of my way to do that, but I don't want to use up all the coal here, especially if I don't have enough wood production or anything to start going on the I'm drawing a blank on the name, I'm sorry, the domestic fuel. All right, we have a research institute going. So you can see here, on all of these buildings, and a farm might actually be a good one to show you. So it'll say last year we grew 379 cabbages, which is fantastic. As the game goes on, you might notice this number go up or down a little bit, because it does your current year and your last year. So you can kind of see where things are at year over year. And you can set, let's see if I can, so like this mine here, it's set to unlimited, which is fine. But sometimes you only want to be making a little bit of stuff. So like the stone tools, we're limited to 200 right now, which is going to be more than enough right now. But I don't want to be going through all my stones making tools when I need them to build stuff. So it's definitely nice that you have that control. All right, did we unlock any new? Ooh, we unlocked peas. So we're gonna switch one of those over to peas, just because it does give a little bit more food. We don't need the flax seeds, and I keep getting distracted from the sandpit. So the sandpit is similar to what I was trying to explain earlier, about it just needing to go somewhere on the river where it can. So like right here, it can't go because there's a one tile on the top right here, but if I move it left one, it moves to the bottom left. And there's no way to rotate this any direction other than just a flat 90 degrees. So, a little annoying sometimes to try to find placements for stuff, but you get used to it. And I think right here is probably going to be a pretty decent spot, because I want to leave this flat spot for some of the bigger buildings that are going to need to be built that also require water. And I don't want to start encroaching too much on this, because this is going to help us a lot. You can see all the stuff that it gathered last year, that just all that food. So I don't want to encroach on that and make it less efficient. And I think I'm gonna do a dirt road out to, let's say, there. And then we'll just go up in a straight line all the way to there. We'll also just get one more out like that, because it's always a good thing to just start your roads early, so that way you can plan the city and not have to stress about anything really. Oh, you're upset because you don't have workers, and so are you. Okay. So these fields here, they can be done by 2 workers, and unfortunately this is what a lot of your early game is going to be. It's just kind of finding empty spots, looking for workers. And I think I'm going to actually unassign that one real quick, put them on here, because I believe the the big well is slightly more efficient. And looking at the time here, I have been going for a little bit, so I don't want to get lost in time and go for the next 3 hours, which I definitely could, as I'm gonna just continue to go and talk here. But I think with all the progress we've made in this video, making our little village, again, nothing super crazy, but definitely a fantastic start, I think I'm going to call the video here. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I hope all of you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are at. And as I've been saying, if you like the video, please drop it a like. I really, really do appreciate it. If you like the series as a whole or my channel, I would appreciate it if you'd think about dropping a subscription for me. And otherwise, leave a comment if there's anything I can do better, anything you like, anything you don't like. I am open to all of it, or just hanging out, saying hi. So thank you again, and always remember to do something kind.